article, going to flush the water tank fallacy, and this lie that's been perpetuated on, they've caught all the tank water Fukushima, Japan. That's exactly what it is. It's a lie. I stood right here to the very inch, and told you all this in 2013, excuse me, in 2011, in March 12, 13, 14, every day since. They've been dumping the entire time. So you're going to fall for this fallacy somehow that they're protesting now. Yeah, they're protesting in Asia. They've been protesting the whole time. Massive, gigantic protests all over Asia. And I could prove this. They're going to catch the water tank fallacy as a lie. If they built tanks to catch all the water that's been down there, they would literally be towers to Babel covering the entire island of Japan. I post the links over and over and over and over this year. Oh, it's just in the Fukushima harbor. 18,000 becquerels of cesium-137 per kilogram in the fish. Oh, well, that's just right there in the harbor. We have nets. Okay, let's go back the year before, 40 kilometers off the coast of Fukushima. 1,400 becquerels of cesium-137 per kilogram. You know? 100 times over the safe legal limits, and that's the raised legal limits. So, oh, okay, well, that's not enough proof for you? How about the KLK study that I post? I'm the guy that leaked that out to the world before they kettled me and went after me. I mean, it's outrageous, the cover-up of Fukushima. It's the greatest crime in human history. We're afraid of meltdowns, we're afraid of meltdowns, we're afraid of meltdowns. Oh, it could melt down at the Big Z, might melt down at the Big Z. But you don't know. I mean, everybody needs to go back to consumption junkies, what's your function? And go back to preschool, and we need to have a lesson on verbs, adjectives, and nouns. God, Fukushima's evolved. It's not just noun now, right? Talk about an action, an adjective, talk about a verb. So they don't know, nobody in this country knows the difference between the word is, could, has, might, happen, happening, happened. They don't know. The Fukushima disaster has been going on. And I was the only person in a public forum screaming and yelling, saying these are full-blown out meltdowns in the world. It took me a year and a half to convince anybody who's even one meltdown this is how well the cover-up was. I mean, I did the due diligence. I was the professor here at the #1 school of business and student professor in those days. This is the University of the Building. This is Utah Construction. This is the University of GE. And I keep telling them, why don't you just turn this pond, the Weber State Pond, you're gouging it like this. You love nuclear so much. Why don't you turn it into a spent fuel pool? SMRs. What a sham. It's all a sham. So, in 2011, in June of 2011, I leaked that out before it was even in the abstract. Before the conclusion was even written. First you hypothesized, Kevin Blanch, standing right there. These are full-blown up meltdowns. They're lying, they're lying, they're lying, they're lying, they're lying. It's going to genocide the Pacific Ocean. It's going to break the chain. It's going to cause a chain reaction, including the plutonium fires. It's going to cause heat bubble. I mean, it's just coincidence. Oh, really? The heat bubble over the western United States of 2011. The wasting disease. What caused what? We don't know. Just 2011 on the starfish. How about the salmon? We count every salmon. We don't count dead tide pools. Oh, Kevin Blanch does. We don't count dead humans in bone marrow transplants. Oh, Kevin Blanch does. I was almost one of them. You know, just the fact that I go into the bone marrow transplant on 11/11/11. Think about that. All this, so it's not, first you hypothesize, then you do the field work. Traditional PhD. I've done 12 years of field work. I've done bowel cancer. That my tide pool work alone should be a Nobel Prize. The salmon, we count every salmon. You can go all the way. We're going to get the numbers back today from Tim on the Rogue Derby. They actually had a derby when there's no salmon. I mean, it's pathetic. It's pitiful. We have the salmon data. And they all mirror each other, including the Jedediah Smith, who has no dams, to the Kenai. You know, all the way down. Every one of these major drainages, we have the data. We have everyday data for 12 years now. So we can use regressionary models. We can build, plug them, and take the bias out. Kevin White standing right there in March 2011. Do not believe them. Do not believe them. Do not believe them. They're going to circle the wagons. This is March. It took me hours to upload that video. You just didn't do it with a finger on a phone in those days. On my flip cam and my old tripod. Don't believe them. They're lying. They're lying. They're lying. They're lying. They're lying. These are full blown out meltdowns. They're going to circle the wagon. The IA ranked it a 7 years after the fact. Just a 7. What? Who sets a scale from 1 to 7? That's malice from inception. All these so-called half-nukers, Helen said that the Japanese were tidy people and cleaned it up. Arnie called it, I had to kick Arnie Gunderson off my site. He argued with me. He said it was nothing but a hydrogen blast for 7 years. Chris Busby says the Pacific Ocean's a big place that'll dilute. They march one half-nuker after another out on, I'm on TV. I'm a butcher, what's a cow? I'm a baker, what's a cake? I'm a dirt contractor, what's a shovel? It's unbelievable. I'm a football player, what's a goalpost? I'm a carpenter, what's a hammer? I'm a plasterer, what's a hawk and trowel? I'm an environmentalist, I'm a zoologist, I'm a biologist, I'm a history professor at Weber State. Who's Kevin Blanche? I'm a marine biologist at Scripps. I'm a marine biologist at the Monterey Aquarium. I'm a marine biologist at San Diego State, at Cal Berkeley, at Oregon State University, at Weber State. What's Fukushima? Well, I'm an NFL scout. Who's Rashid Shaheed? So, I've presented all the data. Don't fall for this fallacy that they're going to... Yeah, they're protesting big time. I love their protests. But they've been protesting the whole time. All of Asia's been protesting. They're not Fukushima denial like we are here because their governments are completely dominated and controlled by the Nuclear Energy Crime Syndicate. And Price Anderson... Oppenheimer, they opened up the spigot on the Manhattan Project. They never shut it off. Einstein never wrote that letter. Hell of a way to boil water, Einstein said. Kevin Blanche, hell of a way to boil a planet because nuclear meltdowns. We're afraid of Big Z. We're afraid of Big Z, the meltdowns. We're afraid of the ones that could happen. But the ones that did happen, just ignore them. They're not Fukushima denial in Asia. They're not in Europe. Germany. Angela Merkel's a nuclear physicist. One reason they'll talk to you, they had the most advanced nuclear reactor in the world getting ready to go online. Multi-billion-dollar thing. They shut it down. They shut them off. Oh, you don't think? I will quote Oppenheimer himself. If the German nuclear biologists and the nuclear physicists wanted it first, they would have it first as the best in the world. He knew they didn't want it. They weren't interested. He knew that. Mother... never pregnant, baby been aborted. That was a communique that came back from inside U.S. intelligence to the Manhattan Project in 1943. He dropped it anyway. He knew they did. He dropped it. Think about that. He would have dropped it on Germany. He said that multiple times. So, you're going to fall for the fact. Because now here's the only difference. U.S. media is now showing the protests in Japan because they want you to believe that they cut all that away. They've been protesting for 12 years all over China. All over Taiwan, all over freaking Japan, all over Korea. Here, I tried to organize 7 million people in the Million Mass March. We'll start on the backs of the Fukushima disaster. We get any media? Just 7 million people. I mean, remember the 15. They've been protesting the whole time. Dumping the water? They've been dumping the whole time, you know. Breaking news. Fish swim. Breaking news. It rains. Oh, they get typhoons over there. Washes through there. They've never found the cores to this day, and they've been looking and looking. They sent in robots that can have many, many thousands of degrees Fahrenheit. Never get. Where are those cores? Go to the doctor and get a bone marrow biopsy. He'll show you where the cores are at. I got my eyes up and down. Boy, it is. Don't drop the dry cap. Let's turn this into a spent fuel pool. Don't you hate those freaking weed eaters and weed blowers? And remember when noise pollution was a thing? So I'm telling Weber State, you love nuclear energy so much. You're funding these SMRs that don't even exist. This Ponzi scheme scam by NewScale and Bill Gates, a terraformer, they don't even have them. Terraform doesn't even have a license. NewScale's corrupt license. They've already backed out and says, oh, whoops, don't work. After Utah ratepayers, oh, look at this neighbor of mine slugging the... That dude weighs about 300 pounds, too, and nothing new. He's been exploiting them for years. I've been screaming about it, but nobody listened to me. No, he just gets it right. Huh. The nuclear energy emperors. They have no clue. They have no clothes. They have no soul. They have no integrity, and the U.S. media wants to report it now to fool you, to trick you. Huh. The nuclear energy emperors. They have no clothes. Kevin, Hans, Christian Anderson, Blanche, Stan Tunit, or Hamlet and Cassandra got together. They had a baby, and he sees for miles and miles. I stood right here to the square inch. Right here. Let's do this one more time. I stood right there and said, I stood right there. Play back the tape, Your Honor. Bury it. Do not believe that. Just remember a few things. Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. No, he didn't. George W. Bush won the 2000. No, he didn't. Pat Tillman fought up 9 billion zillion Al-Qaeda was freaking. No, he didn't. His own gadget. Fukushima is nothing. It's just a hydrogen blast cover up. They're lying. 10, 12 years from now, they will come out and try to tell you. But who knew? The truth means nothing to the sheep. They're afraid of it could happen at the Big Z, but not it did. The gonna flush tank. Gonna, could, fucking. Don't know the difference between is and going to and could. Please. These are 3-4 core meltdowns with 8 cement fuel pools blown to smithereens. And they're going to tell you that Chernobyl is worse than one. One graphite freaking reactor with brand new, no spent fuel because it was new. And they're going to tell you one is greater than 3 core meltdowns and 8 spent fuel. One is greater than 11. One is greater than that. Winston. What is 2 plus 2? It's 4. It's whatever. You're lying, Winston. Kevin Blanche. 2 plus 2 is still fucking 4. It's fairy tale. One graphite reactor, 700,000 menu 2 versus 3 core meltdowns that they did nothing. 8 spent fuel pools. Fukushima is greater than Chernobyl by many, many times. Whoa, sun my eyes, folks. Stan Turner. The flush fallacy. They've been freaking protesting the flushing, and they've been flushing the whole time. Stan Turner.